Good afternoon and welcome to today's episode of Ashgrove TV. Today we're talking about how your body responds to food and how things like energy dips, cravings and stubborn weight might be connected. Also, we're going to be demonstrating a glucose monitor live during the show so you can see exactly how it works. Today I'm joined by Anna Mathia, the nutritional therapist here at the Ashgrove Clinic, and Spencer Martin from Glucose Evolution. Anna and Spencer, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting us.
I'm intrigued, excited. Yeah. I love a gadget, so I'm really kind of fascinated to see what you guys are going to be demonstrating today. So first of all, Anna, what can this monitor be used for and why is that important?
Well, continuous glucose monitoring first came into my life 5 years ago on a personal level. My daughter, who was then 3, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So I was we were all suddenly thrust into a world of managing blood sugars overnight, and continual glucose monitoring in the last 10 years has really revolutionised how we manage type 1 diabetes. So for me, it's day to day. Now, as a practitioner, what I've found is that when I'm working with people who are wanting to improve their metabolic health or pre-diabetic health or diabetic health, the glucose monitors have just been amazing. So I've got a number of clients already that are running on these monitors as we speak. It gives me access to their blood sugars on an ongoing basis, and it gives them that kind of power back to understand how they can improve their health. So it's been brilliant, yeah. And
I mentioned in the intro that it can be used in weight and other things. So in whatever ways is glucose important to people? Obviously the diabetes.
Yes, so anybody who's been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, some of those people will be already accessing continual glucose monitors through the NHS, but some won't. So anybody who's pre-diabetic, so possibly on that pathway towards type 2 diabetes and are looking to reverse and get back on top of that's a really good time to really start to understand and think about how they can change their blood sugar management. Anybody who is maybe struggling with weight loss, that would be a really useful area. Women with PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, because that's centered around insulin resistance, so it can be really useful. And there's a whole sort of army of people that are really interested in metabolic health, so being really healthy, and actually there's a real appetite. So athletes, sports people.
I was going to ask you about the sports people.
People like me. Absolutely curious about their health.
I think we are in the world, aren't we, where people are, and we're going to see in a moment apps and things which makes it much easier if you can actually see the data and measure and monitor it. Yeah,
and everybody responds uniquely to food as well. So whilst there's a principle of eating and nutrition, everybody's different. And what this does is allow you to understand how you respond to food, and how you respond
specifically.
And how you respond at different times of the day, because that's significant and important.
I guess there's concepts that are generalised, aren't there? Like people talk about that mid-afternoon slump and things like that, whereas when you've actually got the data, you can see it in real time and work with that much more closely than just a generalised feeling or idea. Let's crack on then, because I think Spencer's here from from the company behind
Glucose Evolution.
Fantastic. So let's show people how easy it is and what can be done with it, because it looks amazing and this bowl of food looks amazing, so be rude not to
well, we thought it'd be amazing to have that demonstration so that people could see. So beautifully packaged. I'm going to pop it onto my arm, and then Spencer wears one all the time, don't you, Spencer?
I've got one on.
So Spencer's going to then demonstrate what the data looks like to understand that. So very gently and easily take the lid off, pop it on a fleshy bit at the back of the arm, a slight push, release.
Already I know the question is going to be, does it hurt? Obviously, from your response, it doesn't. But
no,
did I flinch?
Not at all. Not at all. No.
So no. I mean, you're aware it's going in. I'm going to be honest about that. But no, it's not painful, and that is there now in my arm.
As easy as that.
Just run my finger round.
So what's been inserted? Just pass that over to you. Is a small, like hair-like filament.
Oh yeah, I can see.
It's 5 millimeters in length. So that is what will detect the glucose concentration and convert that into a glucose reading that will be sent to Anna's phone when she connects. But my phone, I'll show you on my phone in a short while.
So it's very small, discreet, subtle, and it went on really quickly.
Yeah.
So once it's on, what's the next step then? What are we looking at? What does that show us?
So that every minute that will send the glucose reading every minute to the monitor. I guess that's comparable to people who might have a blood glucose meter at home, which would be a finger prick, and that gives you a moment in time. But imagine pricking your finger every minute, on the minute, for 24 hours or 14 days, because that's the duration of this. You're not going to do that. So
gives you a lot more information than what you would get in.
Absolutely. So the way I describe it is the finger prick test is it's like watching a trailer of a movie. You can do several through the day, where with a continuous glucose monitor, you watch the whole film end to end, with the edits probably at the end as well. So it gives you that full picture of what's happening to your blood sugar levels. So shall I go ahead and share my screen?
So once it's on, you connect to an app on your phone, and then this is what you'll see when you open
I'm wearing one in real time, live now. What do they say on live TV? Don't work with children, animals or tech.
It'll be fine.
So we're plugged in. Can we get that up onto the... will that come up onto the screen there?
Yeah,
or can the viewers see it? They can. There we go. Excellent. So it will default to the home screen, which looks like this. I've just got my little mover on there. So you can view your data. See the line here is my data over the last 3 hours. A nice smooth line there. I can change that to look at the last 6 hours, 12 hours, or 24 hours. And what you're going to notice there is across here, you'll see lots of little icons. So this is me entering events. So logging things like when I've had a meal, when I've exercised, I might log it for sleep, weight. So events that might have some impact on my glucose levels.
So are you manually logging some of these?
I'll show you in a little while. So this is how we're going to do that. So it's super simple to enter events. So you just click onto the little plus sign at the top. And before I go on to show you that, the importance of that is so the user and Anna as the practitioner that's supporting the client has as much information to see, well, what type of events are having the biggest impact on my glucose levels. So back to your question, do I enter them manually? Yeah, you can. So you've got the different types of event here. You can also customize it as well if an event category isn't on there. So you could enter it manually. So I'm about to have a meal. I'm going to call it a snack. I could take a photograph of it and then type it in manually. However, let's use the AI. I would suggest for meals that you use these, go back up, use the smart food log here. So we just click on that. And then I'm going to hover it over the delicious food that Anna's prepared. And this is trusting the technology works now. So that's telling me I'm about to eat kiwi, strawberries, pomegranate, seeds, yogurt, nuts, seeds. Is that about right, Anna?
That's absolutely, that's brilliant.
It's telling me it's approximately 40 grams of carbs. So I can edit that if it didn't capture it right. I've got a visual anyway that we can refer back to. So I'll just click on save, exit. And what you see now at the bottom there, that little icon's appeared. So that's super important when working with Anna. So what you can do is go into the menu bar at the bottom, the logbook at the bottom, click on that. Everything you've entered as an event will be recorded in here. So you can go back to it yourself and with Anna as your practitioner and look at certain events to see what impact they had on. So I'll just filter down on meals. Let's go to a meal I've had recently.
So Anna, how does that then help you as a practitioner? And obviously it's a great source of information. There's a lot on there. It looks amazing.
Yeah, and you know, what we're looking at is Spencer's blood glucose control is very, very good. So you've got a nice, beautiful line, and that's always
great demonstration.
I'm not showing off. I do have some.
That's always the goal. The reality is that, you know, probably and potentially at the beginning I'll be looking at something very different, we'll be looking at something very different. That line will likely be a lot higher, particularly if somebody is pre-diabetic or diabetic. So their blood sugars will be higher as a general average, but also we might be seeing spikes and troughs throughout the day. And so for me to be able to see those patterns of how blood sugars are changing throughout the day, and then how meals and exercise and sleep and events are affecting that, stress is affecting that, we can start to make educated changes to somebody's lifestyle or to somebody's diet or their environment that will help support moving towards, what is a more optimal blood sugar. And it really helps me as a practitioner understand that person as an individual, but actually that person can see, the context that I give, actually can see the proof of that. And that's really powerful. So it's an amazing tool. It really is. And, it can be quite a short-lived thing, or for some people, I found that they've really wanted to do it for 6 or 12 months, but we could do it for a month just to give that kickstart of understanding, and then maybe come away from it, see how things have improved. And so it's really flexible.
Yeah. Was there any other kind of
I'll just show you another way. So I use the food log for recording meals. Another little bit of AI tech to use is the voice log. So I tend to use this for the other events. I'm not manually typing away. I'm a busy guy, I want to get things done efficiently. So I click onto voice log, hold to talk. I had a 1 hour swim this morning at 7 a.m. Okay, take my finger off. Does it look right? Just give it the tick, bottom right. And hopefully this will be recognised. There we go, we got 7 o'clock swimming, 60 minutes, that was the calories burn. Again, I can edit it if it didn't capture it right. Sometimes when I say swimming, it comes up with badminton. Okay, strange. Close. But, so I just click on save, and again, I'll be able to go back and look at, the swim with the exercise, because exercise can impact blood glucose levels. So it's
the more accurate, the more detail you give it, the more
yes, and
specific.
That's entirely somebody's choice how much input they would like to put on it. I can work with people that are putting nothing on there, and of course that's fine. That's the conversation we have. But so it's
to get the most out of it.
To get the most out of it, but again, for some people that might not be practical. So it's just working to where somebody's at, But the data itself is incredibly useful, and also as things improve, it's incredibly encouraging for somebody who's trying to make lifestyle changes and dietary changes when they can see the evidence of those changes.
Absolutely.
And so that really motivates and builds confidence. So and I think that's magic for me.
It's a great way of.
And I'll show you another
progress.
feature, because the importance, because primarily I'm working with practitioners like Anna to support their clients, as opposed to just a direct consumer product. Because I feel a sense of responsibility for anyone that's putting this on their arm. So much better when it's used in an expert practitioner-led scenario. So for Anna to observe her client's data, she doesn't have to have the client sit next to her. Can observe the data remotely through a practitioner app and web platform. So to connect your data, I'll just show you how to do that. So we'll click onto profile. We click on, for Anna specifically, we'll click on to doctor care, and then invite to follow. I would type in here Anna's account details, which she would provide. Click on submit, and Anna will get a notification. Similarly, Anna can request me as a client to follow it. It goes both ways. And for anyone using it as well, if they've got a loved one, maybe a carer or a partner, where they want their partner to view their data, they would use a different app called the SciI Link app. Similar process. Invite to follow, put in the address of the person you want to follow. You might not want to if it's a partner, I don't know.
So the options there.
So same process. So you can have multiple people viewing your data, and that's how it sort of makes it an efficient clinic practice session for Anna. When she's got that data live, she can review it before the coaching session, and you can go through it live. And she can also chat through the app and have a video call through the app if she so wanted with a client.
Lots
a lot
of
of
features.
functionality.
Yeah, lots of
which,
features.
Yeah.
Got a couple of questions. I'm just going to have a look. Sam asked, what does the monitor show that I don't already know? Is it not all a bit of hype?
Okay, that's a great question.
Yeah, I like it.
You know,
I think you've answered it to a certain extent, but I think if you...
Yeah, I mean, it's giving you real time
Yeah.
data on where your blood sugars are at, and you know, whilst a routine blood test would give us an idea of that, so something called a HbA1c, which your GP will do for you routinely, that gives us a 3-month view of your blood sugars. But that is a 3-month view in one isolated event. So I think certainly for me it gives that live every 5-minute reading, doesn't it, of what's happening, patterns and trends.
Yeah.
So far more accurate.
It's a deep dive, absolute deep dive into your metabolic health with lots of metrics on there. And again, that's why I highly recommend working with an expert like Anna to interpret those.
And so what you then do with that.
Absolutely. So, yeah,
and how they see it improve.
Yeah.
It's you know, that's the amazing thing, that you know, and they have control back. Because often when you've had a blood test that says, you know, perhaps you're pre-diabetic, it can be incredibly alarming, and often people don't know where to start. And you know, I'd always encourage talking to your doctor, your GP, of course, that's really important. And this is all in support of whatever your GP is doing with you as well. But working with a nutritional therapist and then potentially using data like this is really helping work towards that health goal of bringing those blood sugars down.
I think Sam might have asked the same question, a different question here, a bit more practical. Will it fall off when I'm training? So how long does it last for once you've put it on? And
14 days. I train. I'm in the swimming pool 3 to 4 times a week. I'm a swimmer, master swimmer. I'm in the gym at least twice a week. So no, doesn't disturb any normal daily activities. However, little caveat there, I would say it's super critical to keep the adhesive to the sensor attached firmly. So you see the blue bit is an over patch.
Okay.
I tend to put that on after 1 week. So give it that added security.
So the one
2
Anna's
weeks.
put on just now hasn't got that, but that's
correct.
A week later, pop that over the top.
Yeah.
So again,
because you want to keep the sensor nicely firm in it, and if the adhesive comes a little bit loose, then the sensor can move, and then the readings can start to go a little awry. So no, absolutely train. Yeah.
Good stuff. Will I become obsessed with the numbers and end up with overwhelm that needs Christian's help? We can always work on that, but
I think that's actually a very, very important question. And you know, part of the responsibility of a nutritional therapist when we work with any client is to understand and establish what sort of data or testing will be useful, and when it's appropriate and when it's perhaps not appropriate, and that's part of that initial consultation.
So kind of why you're doing it in the first place, not just another gadget for gadget's sake.
Yes, and of course as a nutritional therapist I can work with people without this data. It's not the be all and end all. Of course it's not,
but like Spencer said, it gives you more to work with,
it's an option for people, and it's a very useful option. But yeah, I think
it's a watch out for sure. And when I first started wearing them, absolutely I couldn't stop. Just as long as you're aware of that.
But again, now I think with people with different tracking devices and watches and things, I think people are more familiar with doing that, and
metrics.
People can get a bit obsessed with it, but it's how you use it that's important.
And I think a great example is with my daughter. You know, she was 3 at the time, and so you have a follow app as a parent, so you can see their data wherever they are. And in the initial period, you do check, but now I haven't looked yet, and she's at school. Since she left this morning. So it becomes the norm.
Good stuff.
Good question.
Tracking and devices can be quite costly, so I can hear people asking, great, but how accessible is this? So what's the accessibility for people who are interested?
So on my website, glucoseevolution.com, you'll see the price. There's 2 products on there, 1 sensor and then 2 sensors. So each sensor is 14 days. So on the website, for 1 sensor, it's £45. If you buy the 2 sensor, it's $87.30. However, keep going back to working with Anna as a practitioner, Anna has a practitioner code. So if you're working with Anna, you'll be able to get a 10% discount on those products.
So for the information it
With
gives
Anna's
you,
code,
if,
yeah.
you know, it could be quite
So it's like
an important
£40,
investment, can't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is part of the reason that I partnered with Spencer, because it's great technology. You know, there are a number of devices on the market, but this is great technology. It's practitioner led. I can see the data, but also it's affordable. And you know, for me, I would love nutritional therapy to be accessible to as many people as possible. So the price point was appealing as well.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say more than that, if I'm honest. So yeah, no, that's good. Another question come in. Does it feel awkward to wear? What about when I turn over in bed?
You don't notice it's there. So I've forgotten already that it's even there. Yeah. So I mean,
it's very
certainly
subtle.
very subtle. Yeah, and certainly my daughter would say, I don't know it's there.
If anyone's going to pick up on it, it's going to be
a 3-year-old,
isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just to add to that, because you mentioned sleep in there, quite often with a CGM you can get nighttime low.
Okay.
So is it true low glucose, or 9 times out of 10 it's because you've been leaning on the sensor, so that can cause what's called a compression low. Yeah, if you sleep on one particular side, maybe put the sensor on the other side.
Okay, but again, once you're aware of it, you can adjust it.
When I first started with CGMs in 2008, there were huge devices took up most of the arm. With these now, and it'd be very easy to knock it off.
Yeah.
Just going through a door frame, for example. But with the size of this is the smallest sensor on the market. Really don't know I'm wearing it, so that knocking it off and it's not happening.
Excellent. So you mentioned CGM. So for people kind of listening and watching who aren't familiar with it, you refer to continuous glucose monitoring.
Correct.
Yeah,
Excellent.
that's the short version.
Someone's Ed's asked how much did it cost, so we've answered that one. Can individuals buy them, or must it be done through a nutritional practitioner?
If you can find me, and I've not done any SEO, then in theory, yes.
Okay.
And it would be, because you won't have a practitioner code, so it will be the prices that I've stated. But I keep saying, like, to get the most out of this, most added value, working with someone like Anna.
To help you interpret it. And
absolutely. And it's all about the interpretation.
Okay. So the answer is yes.
Yeah,
however, you're going to get the most from it.
Yeah.
In partnership with an expert.
Yes. Yeah.
Tara, what do you or I actually do with the data? Again, I know you've touched on this in part.
That's where Anna comes in.
Yeah, so when you embark on a nutritional therapy program, it's looking at the person as a whole person. So initially, I'll take a full clinic case history, looking at all symptoms, all areas of health. What somebody's health goals are. I'll look at family history, I'll look at any medications, any diagnosed medical conditions. So I get that huge overview. The data is an added layer on top of that. So it's not the only thing that we work with. So we're looking much more at how do you feel as well. I would use the data on a kind of day-to-day practical basis to say, actually, we've got a goal to improve that. But also, let's have a look at how certain meals are affecting your blood sugars. So do we need to change the balance of that meal? Are there certain foods that affect you more than somebody else that we wouldn't necessarily have known about? You can start to understand the balance of a plate of food. So you can see that, a plate that's got higher carbs than protein might be causing problems. The order in which you eat foods can be relevant when it comes to blood sugar spikes. But also how quickly that insulin resistance starts to reignite, so improve, and we can see that usually quite often quite quickly.
How quickly?
Now that's a really difficult question to answer. That's different for everybody. And
but do people guidance? What sort of?
I mean, I've had clients that have been pre-diabetic, so HbA1c above 42 for anybody who's checking their blood sugars or their blood test, and they've worked with me for 12 weeks and retested their HbA1c and are no longer classed as pre-diabetic. But it is different for different people, and the further away from optimal blood sugars, the longer it takes. So, you know, my advice is always have the blood test with the GP or review the blood test. And, you know, if your blood sugars are starting to trail in the wrong direction, you know, get on top of that as soon as you can, because it's much quicker to reverse any insulin resistance.
And although everyone's different and it could take a period of time, people can notice changes quite quickly.
Yes, oh, absolutely. Yeah, staggeringly.
Yeah.
Staggeringly
and
quickly.
Being able to see it on the app.
You can't unsee it.
Yeah.
I think that's it, and that's what the data gives you, is the evidence and the, you know, I work with some people that we don't use the CGMs, and you know, we're kind of flying a little bit blind, but I am confident with nutritional therapy that it will improve.
It's a great combination.
Yeah.
Fantastic. There's another question come in. What kind of medical problems might you be able to help with other than diabetes? My daughter has eczema. Would Anna use this device for her?
Unlikely,
okay.
If I'm being honest, in terms of a recommendation, particularly for a younger person. This is the right technology. Nutritional therapy, yes, absolutely. You know, with a condition like eczema, I work with a lot of people with skin conditions, and we would very much be looking at what's creating that kind of inflammatory response, and thinking about diet and food and lifestyle and the environment that somebody's in, and making recommendations to improve.
Okay. Somebody's asked if we would see a difference if Anna was to eat a strawberry. Well, firstly, Spencer, it's your device that we can see on screen. How real time is it if...
In 5 minutes we won't see anything.
That's fine, and we should have asked that question.
And I'm going to consume that after, so we'll see. Maybe we can put some screenshots after.
Of course.
I'll consume
it's a good question, though.
What's relevant to that question is certain foods affect blood sugars at different speeds.
Gotcha.
And so, and actually, it's not necessarily always the foods we assume it is.
Okay.
And that's always the interesting thing. So there are many whole foods that are wonderfully nutritional, but if they're the predominance in a diet from a blood sugar perspective, can be problematic. And so therefore it is about balance, ratios, the person and the individual themselves. So yeah, I think that's the other thing it gives us, is the ability to understand the right diet for the right person at the right time in their life.
Some real valuable data.
Yeah.
Sam, I was expecting it to be much more expensive. Don't put your prices just up.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I just said that earlier.
Good to know it's affordable, and you can get a discount if you get it from Anna. So yeah, it seems like people are really intrigued and interested in what you're talking about today. We're rapidly running out of time, and I know we asked a lot of you to share a lot of information in a short amount of time. Is there anything that you would want people to take away that we haven't discussed? What if we're going to summarise what this can do and how it can benefit people?
I think for me, if you're intrigued about the technology, if you're concerned about your metabolic health or your blood sugars, or you've had a blood test that has been flagged, and you want to have a conversation, then book in. I do offer a free discovery call. Nutritional therapy is a big step for people, and I think it's important that I give people a bit of time to discuss their health goals and what I can do to support. So use that option, and I would really encourage people to do that. And it gives you the chance to ask any questions that you haven't been able to ask today directly with me.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Spencer?
And from me, it goes back to what I think one of the questions earlier. If you do use it, do not become obsessed with it and reliant upon it. Just use it accordingly, and use it to sort of aim towards the health goals, ideally through a practitioner, but absolutely do not become reliant on it. And I will notice if you keep buying it, I will stop you. I won't be sending them out to you. It's really important, because it's a tool to be used appropriately.
Yeah.
The amazing thing I just add is this technology is being used in animals as well.
Okay, interesting.
So at Edinburgh Zoo, there was an anteater who has a continual glucose monitor, and that's how they're managing the anteater's diabetes, which is is incredible. Yeah, so this technology's changed.
Brilliant. And before we wrap up, then, just to go back full circle, why is glucose level so important?
glucose levels essentially reflects your insulin levels. And so insulin is this master hormone that we need. It's a growth hormone, but in excess is a problem.
Okay.
And, you know, we don't want to excessively grow things in the body. It creates a state of inflammation in the body, and inflammation leads on to other conditions like diabetes, cardiovascular disease. So most often as a nutritional therapist, we will work at regulating blood sugars as a priority, and it's relevant for everybody. Running with optimal blood sugars protects you from inflammation and chronic conditions moving forward. And to be honest with you, you feel so much better with lower levels of insulin. You feel sharper, you feel more energized, you sleep better.
So quite important.
So yeah, the most important thing is how do you feel?
Yeah.
And if you don't feel well, then then come and talk to me.
There we go. Perfect way to conclude. So thank you both for your time today.
You're welcome.
That's all we've got time for today. I hope that's given you an insight into how your body works. Please do contact us to talk to Anna if you're having a tough time with food. And remember that we also run hypnotherapy weight loss classes at the clinic with Anna's input. If you need any help with weight, just get in touch and see how we can help you. Our next show is on Tuesday the 5th of May, when I'll be talking to Jay Sheridan about tendon injuries. The treatment and the rehab protocols for tendons are sometimes a bit unexpected. So if you've got a long-standing tendon problem, make sure you tune in. Until then, thanks for watching, and bye for now.